Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on the Space Coach today I want to talk to you about hoverbikes, which are totally going to be a thing in the near future. Now, we've all wanted a hoverbike ever since the days of, like, say, Return of the Jedi and Back to the Future, I guess. However, due to some pretty huge technical challenges, it was always one of those maybe in 20 years things, you know? Like, say, real electric cars or reusable rockets. Now, however, it appears we might be on the cusp of actual hoverbikes becoming available to the general public. So there's a guy called Chris Malloy who is from New Zealand, and he formed a company called Malloy Aeronautics to try and build a hoverbike, and they are now based here in the UK, I think in Bedfordshire. In order to fund development of this bike, and there'll be pictures of it at the end for you to check out, they've designed a mini version that essentially functions as a drone or a hover tray, to be honest. It looks a bit like the land speeders of the Imperial troops to have on Endor, kind of a little bit, other than the placement of the rotor blades, I guess. This drone costs between £600 and £1,000, depending on what specs you opt for. And this is part of how they're going to fund the actual hoverbike, making these mini versions kind of proof of concept, and selling, because obviously drones are very popular at the moment, and people will be buying these. So, there's also a Kickstarter campaign going on, and they want to raise $1.1 million. Currently, when I checked earlier today, it was in the mid-87,000 range. I don't know how long this campaign has been open for, or how long it's got to go, but yeah, they're on their way there, I guess. It's certainly started. So, but why bother, you know? What's the point of a hoverbike? So basically the main idea is to actually replace conventional helicopters, especially in rural areas. It would really help with, say, cattle and sheep ranching in places like Australia, be much cheaper and more practical than, say, small helicopters, or even those like little one-man planes that you can get. And it would also open up a lot of new markets, as well as replacing this small heli market. There's been, surprise, surprise, interest shown by the US Army, and you can totally imagine a platoon of hoverbikes. Definitely, I would love to see, would I love to see that? Maybe not. And also, the guys from Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works have been to have a look at it as well. A lot of interest from universities, obviously farmers, as I mentioned. Search and rescue operations, you know, that would be very useful in that. I think its maximum height is about 20 feet. So in those like woody or mountainous areas, that would be very useful. And obviously private individuals, i.e. everyone else. So obviously that, as well as Kickstarter campaign and selling these drones, they're going to be looking for outside investors as well, such as, say, the venture capitalist funds. These are the ones who, like, invested in, say, Elon Musk's ventures back in the day, that sort of thing. So currently, anyway, Malloy Aeronautics, they're working on the prototype, full-size prototype of the hoverbike. It's a quadcopter, so the rings are kind of like this on top of each other at the front and at the back, horizontal. It's made of carbon fibre, Kevlar, aluminium, with a foam core, as being hand built, obviously, this first one. So those materials are pretty sturdy. It would take some knocking, it really would. They're hand building the drone versions and delivering those sporadically as well. Check out the website hover-bike.com for more information on if you want to buy one or place an order for a hoverbike. I thought about it, but then I realised this is probably going to be at least £10,000 in the initial stages. I like the idea of hoverbikes. I'm not prepared to pay that much for it. So basically it looks like hoverbikes are actually a thing, or they soon will be. Like I said, no word on how expensive they're going to be, but remember the drones are up to £1,000. Like I said, probably in the 10 grand range. But who wouldn't want a hoverbike if it was at a reasonable price? If it came under £1,000, I think I would give it a lot of consideration, although ideally it would be a lot less than that. And you know what? It would be pretty revolutionary. It would be like when the first cars started appearing on the roads. Obviously, there's going to be accidents at first, idiots crashing into each other or into buildings or electrocuting themselves, tearing down phone lines by mistake. But, you know, they'll find a way around that eventually, and as we do know, regulations always lag behind the curve when it comes to technology, whether it's the old laws against video piracy or, like say, Bigelow building its lunar base. You know, you've got to have regs in place sooner or later. But sometimes you have to just do it and drag your regulators with you. I think that's probably what's going to happen here. As for myself, I'd love the freedom of the skies, even if it is just a few feet off the ground. Well, 20 feet, although you probably wouldn't go more than about 6 or 7 because you don't want to fall from that distance. So, what do you think, guys? Would you buy a hoverbike if it was available? Hoverbike racing will be a thing. Imagine that. Brilliant. Go to work on your hoverbike. Be a lot faster. Pollution, though, I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk could make an electric version. Anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on hoverbikes. I thought I'd let you know that they're actually a thing, like I said. Why don't you let me know what you think, and we will speak next time about it, perhaps. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, leave a comment or a suggestion about hoverbikes or not, or hit the like button if you did indeed like them.